Heart rate training for new runners, good idea or great idea? That is what we're going to talk about in today's video. It's no secret that I am a big fan of heart rate training, and I might even go so far as saying that it is the best way to train for any runner, no matter how long you've been running, no matter what your experience, no matter what your goals might be. And yes, I know that that's getting really close to giving one-size-fits-all advice, which is not exactly my thing, but that's how strongly I believe in the value of slowing down in order to run faster. Recently, a new runner reached out to me and basically said that she thought that heart rate training really does make sense. She gets the idea behind it, but was wondering if maybe it would be a better option for her after she's gained a little more experience and logged a few more miles. Now, again, I make no secret about my bias towards heart rate training or any of the effort-based zones, heart rates, whatever you want to call it. Let's focus on the main idea here, okay? And I think there's a couple of really big reasons about why, for a new runner, especially, heart rate training might be the best method to subscribe to and to build your training around. One reason that I think that heart rate training is a great option for a new runner is because it's such a key to building a solid and sturdy foundation. And as someone who's new to the sport, no matter how young or old you might be, when you're new to the sport, your body is adapting to the new demands that you're putting on it, right? And one issue that plagues so many new runners is injuries. Now, you could make an argument that injuries plague new and veteran runners alike, and I wouldn't argue with that, but especially when you're new, before your body has adapted to the pounding, to the stress, to the strain that running distance puts upon it, those injuries are even more likely to happen. And if you couple the fact that your body isn't used to the demands of running with pushing a little bit too hard, too fast, it only is going to make the odds of injury higher. By focusing on building your foundation by running easy, you give your body a fighting chance to stay healthy, to build up their resilience, to strengthen the bones and the tendons and the muscles that are required for running. And while there's never a good time for any runner to deal with an injury for a new runner can be a game over situation, right? Like, you're new to the sport, you're getting into it, maybe you're struggling a little bit, and then you wind up injured. Well, why would you keep coming back to running? Because you got injured while running, right? So focusing on running easy, building that foundation, allowing your body to adapt to the demands of our sport. And let's not kid ourselves, running is a full contact sport, right? Like that pounding that you do, whether it's running for a mile, 2, 10, 20, 30, whatever, like, that's a lot of wear and tear. And if you try to do too much too quickly, breakdown is definitely possible. So focusing on running easy to begin with, not only does it do a great job to build your aerobic foundation, which is huge for whatever type of goals that you might have in the sport, but it also goes a long, long way towards helping to build the resilience of our bodies to avoid breakdown, to stay strong and healthy. And I don't know what runner wouldn't like to have that kind of foundation in place from day one. Another reason that I think heart rate training is a great option for a new runner, and maybe this is a little bit more of a vanity metric, but it's a factor, no doubt, is that when you're new to the sport, your ego probably isn't as big of a factor. When more experienced runners get into heart rate training, a lot of times it can be a real big hit to the ego, because what they thought was an easy, slow pace before, is they get into heart rate training and they recognize that maybe they need to slow down a bit more, sometimes a lot more. And seeing that pace go from 8 or 9 minute pace as easy to actually having to run 10, 11, or 12 minute pace to maintain a heart rate in the appropriate zone. True story, that's exactly what happened to me when I got started in heart rate training. Went from running 8s and 9s to 11s and 12s, and I wasn't exactly enthused by that situation. That can be a really tough pill to swallow. When you're new to running, you don't know what you don't know, right? And you also haven't developed some maybe less than ideal habits, aka running a bit too hard on days that are supposed to be easy runs. So by getting into heart rate training from day one, or as close to day one as possible, you set yourself up to not have to take that hit to the ego of slowing down, maybe feeling like you're regressing, though you're not. It just feels like it sometimes, again, from experience. And if we can take the ego out of the equation, no worry about comparisons on Strava, social media, things like that, that's not a bad situation to be in, near as I can tell. So yeah, heart rate training, is it a good idea for new runners? Yes. Is it the best idea for new runners? Also yes, at least as far as I'm concerned.